rolling down the river. Join me as we take a look at a young man who was far ahead of his time, who had ideas that many adults struggle to come to terms with. I am talking about the fictional character, True Blue Huckleberry Finn. I wanted to examine a character imagined by one of my favorite writers of all time, none other than Mark Twain himself. We can see how this lovable rapscallion, that even though fictional and a child, can show us deep understanding about complex human behaviors, teaching us that even the most invisible among us can have the most profound words to live and learn by. We will be looking at 4 quotes by Huck that reveal the deep understanding behind hardcore topics such as slavery, God, and human morality. Like Master Yoda said, how truly wonderful the mind of a child is. So let's set off down the mighty Mississippi as we learn how a child, even without an education, can give more insight about the way of the world than most adults, fictional or not. Huckleberry Finn, the protagonist of Mark Twain's The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn, is a young boy growing up along the Mississippi River in the pre-Civil War American South. Huck is best known for his rebellious spirit, independent nature, and deep sense of morality that often conflicts with the corrupt values of the society around him. At the start of the novel, Huck is seen as a wild and uneducated boy, often dirty, barefoot, and more comfortable in the woods than in a classroom or church. He resists being civilized by the widow Douglas and Miss Watson, preferring freedom over the structured life they try to impose on him. Huck's journey down the Mississippi River with Jim, a runaway slave, becomes not just a physical adventure, but a moral one. Along the way, Huck is forced to confront difficult questions about right and wrong, especially when society tells him that helping Jim is a sin. Through these experiences, Huck begins to trust his own conscience rather than blindly follow the rules he's been taught. Despite his youth and rough upbringing, Huck shows compassion, courage, and a growing sense of justice, especially in his evolving relationship with Jim, whom he comes to see as a friend and equal rather than property. Huck's voice, filled with humor, honesty, and sharp observations, captures the contradictions of a society built on slavery and prejudice. Ultimately, Huck Finn stands as a symbol of moral growth, personal freedom, and the struggle to do what is right in a world that often teaches otherwise. Our first quote is, "If you tell the truth, you do not need a good memory." This simple but insightful quote is beautifully put. When someone tells the truth, they don't have to keep track of lies or worry about contradicting themselves later. Lies often require a person to remember details they made up, which can easily be forgotten or mixed up over time. Huck's quote suggests that living truthfully makes life easier and less stressful, because the truth is consistent and doesn't change. This reflects Huck's growing sense of morality and understanding of right and wrong throughout the novel. Human beings are natural-born liars, and not in a malicious way. We lie for all sorts of reasons. To make ourselves look better, to get out of trouble, to fool ourselves and the world around us. The average person lies all day, every day, and most never even pay attention to it. But the most lies we tell are those we tell ourselves to help us make it through the day. Most lies are what's called little white lies, because they tend not to hurt anyone. They are the most common of lies, innocent, like lying about your height or lying about your natural hair color. These are all inconsequential, but reveal much deeper things about a person. I believe that the most dangerous lies are the lies we tell ourselves, because they shape our whole existence and what we think of ourselves. It is meant to give your psyche that boost it needs to turn those lies into realities one fine day. It is a wonderful notion and great to aspire to, but telling the truth all the time might get people into more trouble than lying. I believe I am an honest person, but I am still a liar. We all are, if we are truly honest with ourselves. If we had to tell the truth all the time, we would end up how Jim Carrey did in the movie Liar Liar. It is a sad truth, but we need to lie to make our way in this world, and telling the truth would only be when it does not serve us. You are not a bad person because you lie. You are merely human, trying to fashion a confidence to yourself and others that will help you through life. So I try to take from this quote that yes, if you have to lie so much that you cannot keep your story straight, then it is to a point where the lies are forming the basis of your existence. But if you are telling untruths to spare yourself and others, then it might be a matter of convenience and ego, more than malicious intent. I say, lie to keep yourself happy if needed, lie to keep others at bay, if needed, but do not lie to where it starts hitting your conscience, changing the course of events in your life with a lie. If you need to do that, then that spin on the truth has become far more complex than it should ever be, and those are the hardest lies to justify. Quote number 2. The pitifulest thing out is a mob. That's what an army is, a mob. They don't fight with courage that's born in them, but with courage that's borrowed from their mass and from their officers. But a mob without any man at the head of it is beneath pitifulness. In this quote, Huck Finn offers a sharp critique of mobs and organized violence. He is pointing out that people and mobs often act without thinking for themselves. They gain false bravery from being part of a group, rather than from individual conviction or moral strength. He compares an army to a mob, suggesting that even soldiers sometimes rely more on group pressure and leadership than on personal courage. Huck's strongest criticism, however, is for mobs without any real leader. He calls them beneath pitifulness, meaning they are not just sad, but shameful and dangerous because no one takes responsibility. This reflects Huck's deepening awareness of how easily people can be swept up in collective wrongdoing when they don't think or stand up for what's right on their own. If you have watched some of my other videos, you already know how I feel about a mob mentality. Well, basically, I hate it. Droning like a worker bee with no mind of your own, and finding it easier to follow than lead in your own life. I am not saying everyone has to be a leader. That would be a disaster, but you should be a shepherd in your own life, guiding your thoughts and actions to purpose, instead of letting other people Pied Piper you into making decisions you know to be unjust. Everyone wants to be part of the group. That is a human longing we all have, but we also cannot let that need to belong drive us to be sheeple, losing our sense of self and doing things as if a puppet dancing on a string. This is how I feel when people carry out attacks on innocents, all at the behest of a so-called leader who would not spit on you if you were on fire. We can see this many a time in the modern age with religious extremism, where people think they are carrying out the will of God, but in truth, they are carrying out the agenda of other men, who are manipulative and cowardly themselves. These men do not know what God wants. Who are they? How do they have all the answers, enough to tell you to go give your life for a cause? The answer is, they don't. So don't be their cannon fodder, Huck is saying. That mob mentality that incites something in human beings to want to join in. Like at a protest, when one person starts throwing bottles at police, then it is like a chain reaction because then everyone joins in. We just cannot help ourselves. We feel faceless in the crowd, anonymous, but also part of something. And this is a very dangerous thing. When a person's individuality goes out the window and is replaced with clannish behaviors meant to subjugate you into doing certain things at the behest of other people, then you become truly lost. It is one thing to embrace your culture and want to be part of a group, to share in common beliefs and ideals. That is how I feel about the like-minded people who watch these videos and feel the same way, as if someone gets them. But when you act like cattle and no one takes responsibility, Huck Finn says that is worse, because then it is simply chaos without organization. So whether a soldier is part of an army or a protester is part of an angry mob, think whether you are being swept up into that mob mentality, doing things because the presence of others is making you. Would you do these things on your own? The answer to that question will speak volumes to your true motivations. Our next quote is, "What's the use you learning to do right when it's troublesome to do right and ain't no trouble to do wrong, and the wages is just the same?" This quote is mind-blowingly truthful. Huck is struggling with the idea that doing the right thing is often more difficult and brings no greater reward than doing the wrong thing. He feels that society teaches people to do good, but then makes it harder and less rewarding than doing wrong, which seems easier and more accepted. This quote reflects Huck's internal conflict as he tries to decide whether to follow his conscience, like helping Jim, a runaway slave, or follow what society has taught him is right. It shows how he is beginning to question the values of the world around him and think for himself, even if it's uncomfortable or confusing. Doing the right thing can be 10 times harder, and it is usually easier to do the wrong thing, and probably more profitable at that. If this were not true, then crime would not pay, but it seems to, if you can get away with it, right? This makes me think of what Albus Dumbledore said to Harry Potter, that he will have to choose between what is right and what is easy. This leads me into our final quote, which somehow seems to be an amalgamation of all the words and sentiments of Huck Finn. Having faith is believing in something you just know ain't true. Huck Finn expresses his skepticism toward the blind acceptance of beliefs that don't make sense to him. He's criticizing the way people often accept ideas, especially religious or societal ones, without questioning them, even when those ideas seem clearly wrong or unfair. For Huck, faith sometimes feels like pretending to believe in things just because others say they're true, not because they actually make sense or feel right. This quote reflects Huck's growing independence and distrust of the rules and beliefs forced on him by society, especially those that justify slavery or other injustices. It highlights one of the novel's key themes, the tension between societal expectations and individual moral judgment. This goes hand in hand with our previous quotes about mob mentality, truths and untruths, and doing what is right. We tend to know that all of these things are false prophets, but as human beings, we still put our faith in things that we know to be false, wrong, and downright ridiculous in some cases. Why do we do this? I believe it is because we want something better in life. We want to lie to make ourselves look and feel better. We join a mob mentality to belong and survive, and we try to do the right things according to our own journey in life. It is easy to do the right thing when everything is great in life. Then there is nothing at stake. But try doing the right thing when you are down and out. Try not stealing when you are starving. Try not committing assault to save your family member from being hurt. It is all where we are at in life that determines where we draw these lines of right and wrong, truth and lies, faith, doubt, and certainty. So what can we learn from this trip down the river with true blue Huck Finn? We can learn several important lessons. One of the most powerful lessons is the value of thinking for yourself and following your conscience, even when it goes against what society says is right. Huck grows up in a world that teaches him slavery is acceptable and that helping a runaway slave is wrong. But through his friendship with Jim, he learns to question those beliefs and decide for himself what is truly right and wrong. This teaches us the importance of developing our own sense of morality rather than blindly accepting harmful traditions or rules. Huck also shows the value of empathy. He sees Jim not as a slave or property, but as a human being and a friend. His journey reminds us to treat others with kindness, no matter what society says about them. Additionally, Huck's love of freedom, adventure, and nature encourages readers to appreciate simple joys and stay true to who they are, rather than trying to fit into someone else's expectations. Overall, Huck Finn teaches us about courage, growth, and the struggle to do what's right in a complicated and often unfair world. I believe that Huck can teach us that the wisdom of a child not yet tainted by the sorrows of the world is an amazing thing. But we see what happens when a young boy has the weight of society thrust on him, forcing him to grow up quickly to navigate this changing world. He adopts a nihilistic and skeptical point of view, questioning right from wrong, good and evil, action or apathy. But in the end, finds out that going with his gut, choosing to do what we know is right, supersedes all, no matter what. It is in our nature to want to question everything and give into temptation, and depending on the situation, twisting our morals and beliefs to suit whatever we need done at the time. But it is when we stand firm in our convictions that we become our best selves, not giving into fear, doubt, and disillusion. Thank you for watching. I hope that the words of the most grown-up, yet backwards child in literature can give us insight into how we all really feel sometimes. We can always think one way and feel another, but what we choose to act on shows whether we let the times run our decisions. Huck Finn lived in a time of slavery, but he chose a different path. Did he get to his decisions all at once with ease? No, he struggled with whether to turn Jim in and whether to go with or against in matters of human degradation, faith, religion, and morality. But in the end, it is better to die in the arms of your own convictions than burn in the fire of other people's hell.